Alrighty then. So, a Bob Ross style painting would not be a Bob Ross style painting without at least one or two happy little trees in it. So let's do the foreground. We've done the background, sort of the mid-ground here. So the foreground, that's the front of the painting. So I'm just going to mix up some dark to start with, just like before. Here's a little bit of that black and a little bit of that blue and a little bit of the magenta, just to give us our nice, interesting black color. And then I'm going to make my paintbrush nice and flat. You see I'm wiggling it through there. Okay. All right. Nice flat paintbrush. And got to make some big decisions here. And, okay, right here. Oh no, there goes my mountains. Right in the middle of it. All right, well, there it is. Okay. And I think we'll just have another little one living right next to it. Because, you know, Bobby says that every little tree should have a friend. And you know what? Put one over on this side too. Just because maybe, oh, maybe about that size right there. Okay. Now, if you really want to use a smaller brush, that's okay. So for instance, if I was using this little brush right here, if we're getting my one back here, for instance, that's all right. It's all the same technique. Use any brush you like. Maybe that one's kind of nice because I have a little bit more control over it. Also, everything's going to happen a little bit different depending on whether or not you've got things wet into wet, or like right now where it's dried, because it's in between sessions here and this tempera paint dries very quick. All right, so there's that. Maybe I'll even use this at least for the beginning of this little guy right here. And I'm going to leave some space because I don't want to lose my whole mountain. So maybe this tree is going to be a little bit sparse, and maybe that's going to be a little bit more naturalistic anyways. All right, and this one here, a little bit, little bit, right? And then I think I will switch to the fatter brush as I come on down here. Don't lose that whole thing. I don't want to lose my whole mountain. I like that mountain, but I'll lose some of it. That's okay. Especially if I leave some areas where you can kind of see through it, that's going to just make it really nice. It's going to add so much more detail that way. And I think I'll just refresh some of these darker areas down here a little bit. Okay, good enough. I think I'm going to go ahead and just go with more of a snowy background. But I do want it to have some interest, and I want it to pick up some color. So I'm going to go ahead and ignore that yellow that I had put out for the green, because I changed my mind, and mix up a little bit more of the purple like I've been using. And I'm going to use that as a mid-tone for my trees. And then I'm going to go ahead and put the lighter color on top of it. There we go. And it just covered up that little bit of green that I put on there. Yeah, nobody will ever know. Okay. And so I've got the same old thing here. Remember, following the pattern that I had laid out before and leaving some of those spaces in between the branches. Okay, and so now, without cleaning up the brush, I'm just going to go ahead and go straight into my white. And that will have just enough color, I think, to color my white a little bit. Okay, let's see how it's going to look. Did I make a good decision? bit of snow on those branches. And once again, don't cover up all your darks. Okay, and I can use that same old brush and give myself a little bit of the foliage that might be down here. Okay, I've got my dark brush now that I was using before. So I guess I'm cheating a little bit. I got two brushes going. And I'm going to reinforce some of those darks under there again. So I kind of feel like I lost some. Plus, I'm going to give it some fresh dark here so I can kind of play with that just a little bit. Okay, and this time too, I think I want, as things come closer, I want to get more of a reflection. So I'm going to take some of the same dark and go into the water a little bit. And here I've got this tree. I might as well just give just a little impression of a tree. It doesn't have to look exactly like it, just a little something. And some more of those mid-tones. Just trying to kind of follow the patterns that I've been making here so far. Okay, so now let's wash this brush off a little bit. Maybe I should have gone to the sink, but time was kind of the essence, so I've washed that, dried it off pretty good, but look at this, whoosh, just stroking down, just taking and stroking straight down. Very gentle, and then across. Going to give it just a little bit of a blur. But I wanted to do this right away. I didn't even want to get up to the sink to wash my brush because I really wanted to do this while the paint was still pretty much wet. Because it really wouldn't, it wouldn't work if it was dry. Okay, that's going to give me a little bit of that reflection. Another thing that I can do, now that the paint is going to be drying a little bit, I'll go up here with some straight white. I think that'll be a good idea. And we can really get some highlight on these things. I know it's already pretty white, right? But let's see here. Just lay that down. Ooh, laying it down the side of the brush. Nice and fresh, clean white. You see, that's going to make it pop. I can get a little bit. Sneak a little bit into there. Fresh, clean white. A little bit into there. Okay. See, use my finger. Didn't even use the brush. Okay. Do some little push. I just pull up. Give me a few little doers right there. Maybe a little right there. Make sure this is nice and clean. Okay. Once again, fresh white, fresh, fresh, fresh. Just on the tips. Where else? Okay, how about up into this guy? We really want to maybe even get this guy distinct from this guy here. We'll make sure this guy's out front. So you see, not everywhere. It's not a highlight if you put it everywhere. Enough places just to make that tree a little bit more distinct from the one that's immediately behind it. Now I want to create a little bit of a water line right around these little inlets right here. So I've just got a little skinny brush like this. And old Bob, he might do it with a palette knife, who knows, right? And I've got a little bit of water on it because I want that paint to be nice and a little bit thinner just so it will glide really nice. And so here's my water line. I'm just going to just sort of make that outline of that a little bit. Just rolling it in my fingers like so. Don't want to be super careful. Don't want to be super careful. Just little. Want it to be a little bit rough, a little bit random. I'll even take just a little bit of water itself and just use that to kind of just smooth that out, blend that in. Okay, I'm just using this brush to soften that up just a little bit. And it's taking a little bit of the black or dark from underneath it as well, which is kind of cool. And just making it kind of glassy. That's what I want to do. So adding just a little bit of a ripple to it. Cool. Okay, a little bit up here. Okay, we got to be brave here. I think it needs a little zazz, and I'm not sure. I think maybe what it needs is just a little bit more of that light from the moon. Here we go. So that's just a little bit of white on my brush, a little bit of water on that as well. Not everywhere, but enough places. Okay, I've just got the straight white on my brush, and so just not as much water now. I'm adding highlights to those sparkles that I just put in. Once again, I'm reinforcing the patterns that I've already made. That's kind of an important thing, right? Otherwise, things can become a real muddled mess. Okay, now I'm just kind of playing around a little bit and just finding where things are balanced. What's going to look good? I want to have this painting really pop, you know? What's going to give it a little bit of zazz? Okay, and even here on the shore, just giving a little bit of something, just to sparkle it up a little bit. Make that shore come into the water come into the shore, etc. So I can kind of ghost in just a little bit with a little bit of that water, maybe a little bit of that white, just fading back there. I'm liking that, giving that water a little ripple. All right, so one last note on this one. I went and I put this up on the board to take a look at it, a little bit from a distance, and that's always a good idea. And so then with a clean brush, what I did is I said, okay, what I want to do is I wanted to unify this a little bit. So the brush was clean, but it had a little bit of water. So all these ripples, I would just go cross back and forth, back and forth, and back and forth. So we really get the feel of a current, like the flow of water.